How many people live in cities? Look, total world population is 6 billion. Half world is urban, 3 billion lives in cities. But out of these, 1 billion people lives in slum. About the future. In the year 2050 here, experts predict that world population growth will stop at around 9 billion people. 6 billion will live in urban area. The open question is, can slum be made history? What does it mean to live in slum? United Nations Habitat Programme has a clear definition. Slum is the failure to meet one or several of 5 basic needs. Number 1, every family needs a durable house that can withstand a rainstorm. Number 2, everyone needs sufficient space for their family so that every member have a place. Number 3, families need secure tenures. They must have the right to their home and they must be protected against sudden eviction. Number 4, every family needs safe water that doesn't transmit diarrhea. And finally, Number 5, safe sanitation. That means everyone needs some sort of a decent toilet. But now, let's follow the real experts. We shall listen to the slum dwellers themselves, how they explain these 5 basic needs.
This is somebody's house. The way it has been built is not that good. You can see for yourself.
My house. I sleep there. We are 7. Some are sleeping here.
We believe that soon or later this will be history for the people living, for the slum dwellers, and for the people who are poor. The roof, as you can see, is not that well. The water just get inside as if there is no roof. This is also somebody's house. The wall itself was cartoned. There's no even iron sheet in the walls. So we used to live in this house, but after flood, we shifted. There was a house constructed at this place, but they were swept away. We would like, and we are really hoping to see one day when things are changed and when this slum will no longer be a slum.
that morning we just saw a tractor coming, and we were stranded. What happened? We stood aside to see what these people were doing. They had told us that they will evict us from here, but we were not believing it. Now it happened that day came and everything was being demolished. So we had no alternative. We just stood aside and saw our things, our properties were demolished and everything was removed from this place. So we had to look alternatives, and I had to move from here and look for another house somewhere else in Kianda area.
Poverty is too much. People are not having jobs. Sometimes I do wash clothes for people, for my neighbors, and get a living. If I get some money, I pay for the house rent. If I get some money, I do some, we make some food and eat. But really it's very difficult for a woman like me.
Ellie, Kech, and she's Esther, and I have my beautiful girl, Sophie, come. I have my beautiful girl, she's called Sophia Atieno Kech, the firstborn, and I have another one here, it's called Melvin, and at this time now, is on medication. You see how it is. All the loose people are doing, the flying toilets, the whatever, they are throwing them and they are coming here. Now I'll show you how the toilets are. And these are the loose, you see. These are things people are doing, and then they're coming out, doing like this, and they're going even up to the house. You'll find all the people who are coming from this place. They are diarrheaing because of the kind of situation. My hope is that she is going to be fine, and I know she's going to be well. You'll feel better.
Sawa sawa na wewe, pamoja na wewe, rafiki yangu wewe, katika safari yangu tatembea na wewe, pamoja na wewe, pamoja na wewe, katika safari yangu tatembea na wewe. Pasikutaka ili niheshimiwe, nayo nikute mashaka sawa sawa na wewe, pamoja na wewe, pamoja na wewe, nikute mashaka sawa sawa na wewe.
Solution indeed is what this agency is all about. You know, we are not here just to cry over the problem. We are actually every day looking for solutions And first of all, the first solution is awareness, because this problem, many people are not aware. People are not aware of the magnitude of the urban challenge. So we are urging member states, nations, communities, local authorities, we work very closely here with local authorities, to invest in the slums, to upgrade slums. And now we are even assisting member states to prevent slums. Because the reason slums also are mushrooming everywhere is because there is no planning. You don't plan adequately for these people. So if this is recognized, then we feel that we look for solutions. Solutions, of course, is about planning, about democracy, about solidarity, and about equality, equity, to make sure that you invest into the urban poor, that you see these people as an asset rather than a liability.
Let us follow Anna Tibaijuka's advice and look at the global challenge, the magnitude of the global challenge. This chart here shows you all the countries of the world. Each bubble is a country. The size of the bubble is the population. The red bubble down there is China. Now, the color of the bubbles shows the continents. You see, the green is the Americans, blue here is the African, and so on. Now, what we are showing here on this axis is the percent urban population of the total population. China here is below 20%, and here it's 60%, and so on. It's easy to understand. On this axis down here, I show economic level of the country. Gross domestic product per person in what is called purchasing power parity. That is the comparable value of the currency of the country. Now, let's look at the situation in the world 1963. Those countries who had the lowest economic level had very little people in the urban area, living in cities. And those countries which had best economy, they had more people living in the urban area. But there was quite a variation, Let's look which one is which. Of course, Singapore is up there. Singapore, everyone lives in a city because it's a city nation. Whereas United States had about 71% of its population living in urban areas. Now I would like to show you the change. How has the world changed from 1963, 64, 65? As we move on here, you can see China and India are now having economic growth and people is moving into the urban areas. In the 80s, most of the country bubbles are moving up like this and more people live in the urban area. Look here, 2002, 2004, that's where we are today, the latest statistic available. And it's interesting to see that in the world today, the Americas, if I mark the American countries, those are the bubbles here. This is like Brazil and Mexico. They're very highly urbanized. The whole of Latin America, very highly urbanized. All countries is above about 70% in urban areas. Let me show you the Arab countries in the Middle East. Also, the Arab countries are very highly urbanized, and so are the European countries. In fact, it's only the African countries where we find a low degree of urbanization together with the countries in Asia. The light blue ones here is South Asia. Those bubbles here, that is India and Bangladesh and Pakistan. Most people still live in rural areas, 2004. And even in China, look, this is China. Even in China, we have 40% in the cities and 60% still in the rural areas. So what Anna Tibaijuka means with the urban challenge is there is no doubt that the billions of people which will be added to the population in China and India, they will be added in the urban areas, in the cities. And a large part of these people living in the rural areas, they will move into the cities. We can really see on this map that what has taken place in Europe, and in Latin America, and in the Arab countries, that will also take place in East Asia, in South Asia, and eventually also in Africa. We are facing an enormous urban challenge, but it's also an opportunity, because in cities it's easier to provide school and health service. And also working opportunity and economic growth is there, and a healthy growth of cities can mean a healthy economic growth for rural areas.
Thank you.